Good afternoon, Apologia World. This is Davis Carmen coming to you live via Facebook. It's Wednesday, August 9th, 2017. And today's topic is I believe in homeschooling. You probably already know that, and you may have even seen our little logo and tagline to that effect on some tote bags at conferences, even in one of our catalogs a couple years back. The theme was We Believe in Homeschooling, and I specifically believe in homeschooling. Our team believes in homeschooling, and we had a nice theme related to that. Well, we're in August, early August. Today's August 9th, and if you're like a typical homeschool family, you're starting to think about, okay, I got to get ready for the school year. You know, Labor Day is coming up. A lot of people are already sending their kids off mid-August. In the Charlotte area, the schools start the last week of August, which is surprising. It's usually middle August. But next week, I take three of my girls, my three only girls in the middle, to college. So it's that time of year. It's the back to school, or what I like to say, the back to homeschool season. So with that on our mind, I wanted to tell you just a couple reasons why I personally believe in homeschooling. But first, let me take you back just briefly. This year, we will actually start our homeschool for what it's worth on Thursday, September 7th. And that's because of our family schedule, dropping the girls off at school, a couple of things we got with the boys, and we have a family event on Labor Day. And so, hey, we don't have to start before Labor Day. We don't have to start the day after Labor Day because Wednesday is going to be crazy coming back from that Labor Day event. So we're starting officially, meaning 100% on Thursday. But my boys have an online class. They're going to be in the Apologia Online Academy, as we've been in for many years. And that class actually starts the Tuesday before Labor Day. They have the week of Labor Day off, and then they're back on. So we have the light start, and then the medium start, and then full force. So I'm thinking homeschooling, and I remember 22 years ago we started. We finished 21 years ago of homeschooling now. We started in 1996, so technically 21 years ago. We're about to start our 22nd year of homeschooling. We have 7 kids, 2 boys on the front end, 2 boys on the back end, 3 girls tucked safely in the middle. So our 5 oldest have graduated from our homeschool. Our 2 oldest have graduated from college. My third, our first daughter, is on schedule to graduate from college next year. And so everything's moving out. Everybody's moving out of the house. So we're down to the 15 and 13-year-old this fall. And I'm just reminded of how their homeschool experience is very different from my 2 older boys, because here's how we got started homeschooling. It's what I call the 2x4 over the head method. Rachel and I had no plans to homeschool. We weren't reluctant. We made fun of homeschoolers. Rachel, to their face, she says that often in her workshops around the country, and it's true. We knew 3 families that homeschooled in 1995 and 6, and we thought that was a crazy idea. Why would you do that? The little yellow school bus comes and takes them away for 8 glorious hours. Well, God got a hold of us. We had a horrible experience the first 2 weeks of school. The super short version, first day of school, my boy who was in public school was not put on a school bus the first day, put on a wrong bus the second day. Very mediocre experience the few days after that. And on a Friday, I went to school, spent a day observing, and brought him home. We didn't know what we were going to do on Monday. And over the course of that weekend, I looked at Rachel and I said, honey, we've been praying for Charles' teacher all summer long. I think we've been praying for you. What do you think about homeschooling? And that rocked her world. I wasn't crazy about it, but it seemed like a okay option suddenly. First year was rocky, second year was better. By the third year, we're writing educational philosophies, and by year 4, we are committed to this, even with high school looming off in the distance. And here we are, having completed 21 years, starting our 22nd with a 15 and 13-year-old, soon to be 16 and 14. They're 9th and 10th graders. We have 4 years left to homeschool these 2 boys. And then Rachel's going to have a retirement party. And believe it or not, this summer I actually went to my first ever homeschool teacher retirement party. It was awesome. She homeschooled their 3 girls for 16 years, and I wasn't going to miss that because I'm going to do the same kind of thing for Rachel. So why do I believe in homeschooling? Because of what it's done for our family. That's one of the biggest reasons I believe in homeschooling. And here's how I like to say it. I love my kids. You love your kids. I never doubt the love of a parent for their child. You will love your kids more than anybody will ever love them. You'll know your kids better than any person will ever know them. You'll know them better than their grandparents, their aunts and uncles. Certainly more than a stranger who might have them for 1 year. And so when you start spending all this time together, there are amazing things that happen that you can't predict in the foolishness of man. And what I mean by that is, I've always loved my kids. I wanted to do great things with them. I wanted to teach them God's word. I wanted to teach them values and character, science, math, language arts, history, and extracurricular things. I wanted to be their coach. I had all these general ideas, but I was just like everybody else, ready to hand it off to somebody else and delegate it to somebody else. And when we began, very reluctantly and stubbornly, this homeschool journey, I started seeing what it was doing to our family, and it was all positive. It was all the goals that I had for them. Everything that was happening in my family, the relationships, the character building, the actual focus on things that were important and eternal, like God's word, and dinner time conversations, and Deuteronomy 6 moments that weren't rushed. All that was happening largely because we were homeschooling and life was centering around the family, not around the kids, not around mom and dad, but around God. God became the center of our family, our school, our discussions, and what everything revolved around. And so instead of having life compartmentalized into school, family, church, and so on, it all started doing this. It all started blending together. When we did family, we were doing homeschool. When we were homeschooling, we were doing family. When we were talking about God, we were homeschooling. When we were homeschooling, we were talking about God. And everything interconnected with one another, and it became this beautiful concert of life. And that's why it's often called a lifestyle, because it just begins to permeate everything. The other thing that I wanted to share about you as to why I believe in homeschooling is because of the beauty of you having control of really everything. The schedule, the weekly routine, the curriculum, the calendar, all of that now falls onto your shoulders. It can feel like a weighty responsibility at times, but it actually can be quite exciting to realize you get to decide the direction for these children. Proverbs 22:6 comes into play so often. To train up a child in the way they should go, and they won't depart from it. Well, who better to train them in that way than the person that loves them and knows them more than anybody in the world ever will? Mom, Dad, you are perfectly suited by God to be your kids' parents. That's one of the plans he has for you. Ephesians 2:10 says he has prepared plans for you to do good works before you were ever made. And one of those was to be the parent of these children so that you could love them and know them more than anyone else. And with that great advantage, why not bring them home, keep them home, and continue this homeschooling journey, which I like to call the adventure of a lifetime. So that's just very few reasons of just a touching on why I believe in homeschool. I'll probably share a few more reasons as we are in August and September during this back to homeschool season. But it's great being with you. I'll be with you next week. Should be on Tuesday at 2 o'clock. Signing off, Davis Carmen, President of Apologia, walking by faith and living the homeschool adventure of a lifetime.